The assessment. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Collective hummed with an electric tension. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations gathered in the massive amphitheater carved into the side of an asteroid at the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. Projected above the central platform was the image of a blue-green planet, slowly rotating to display continents and oceans swirled with white clouds. Admiral Zorax, a tall, skeletal being with obsidian skin that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, stepped onto the speaker's platform. 6 elongated fingers tapped a sequence on the console before him, and detailed scans of Earth replaced the simple planetary view. Esteemed members of the collective, Zorax began, his voice a metallic rasp that carried effortlessly through the vast chamber. We have completed our 17-cycle observation of the species designated as humans on the planet they call Earth. Our findings are troubling. The images shifted to show human warfare throughout history, spears and shields giving way to gunpowder weapons, then tanks, aircraft, and finally nuclear explosions that made several of the more sensitive species in the chamber flinch visibly. These creatures have spent more of their recorded history at war than at peace. They have developed weapons capable of destroying their own planet several times over. And now, Zorax's voice dropped ominously. They have begun to venture beyond their world. The display changed to show early space missions, satellites, and finally, the small outposts humans had established on their moon and neighboring planet. Ambassador Threx of the Vexillian Dominion rose from his seat, his gelatinous form shimmering with bioluminescent concern. But surely, Admiral, they are centuries from achieving faster-than-light travel. The quarantine zone around their solar system should be sufficient until they evolve past their violent tendencies. Zorax's mouth stretched into what might have been a smile on a human face, but on his alien visage appeared more like a grimace. Ambassador, our intelligence suggests they are much closer to cracking the subspace barrier than we initially estimated. Their theoretical physicists have already published papers discussing principles remarkably similar to our full-drive technology. A murmur of concern rippled through the assembled representatives. Furthermore, Zorax continued, their rate of technological advancement is unprecedented. What took most of our civilization's millennia to develop, they have achieved in mere centuries. If their current trajectory continues, they could become a spacefaring power within 50 cycles, and given their history of aggression, this poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. The High Counselor, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate hovering vessel, moved to the center of the chamber. What do you propose, Admiral? Zorax's eyes gleamed. Preemptive subjugation. We have the technology to neutralize their defenses without destroying their biosphere. Their planet possesses valuable resources, and the humans themselves could serve as an effective labor force under proper control. Most importantly, we would prevent them from ever becoming a threat to our collective peace. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices and telepathic communications as species debated among themselves. Some argued for observation, others for complete sterilization of the planet. But Zorax's proposal gained traction. It was practical, profitable, and preventative. After hours of debate, the High Counselor called for a vote. One by one, each species cast their decision. The Vexillians voted for subjugation. The crystalline Lithians, typically pacifists, reluctantly agreed. Even the ancient Aetheri, who had seen the rise and fall of 1,000 civilizations, concurred that humans represented a unique threat. Only the Xalan, a race of empathic beings with 4 arms and azure skin, abstained. Their representative, Xeala, stood alone as the results were tallied. The vote is complete, announced the High Counselor. With only one abstention, the motion passes. Earth will be classified as a Class 1 security risk, and a subjugation fleet will depart within 3 cycles. As the chamber emptied, Xeala approached Zorax. Admiral, have you considered that your assessment might be incomplete? Humans are diverse in their thinking. Zorax cut her off with a dismissive gesture. Your species' sentimentality is well known, Ambassador Xiala. The decision has been made. Prepare your research teams if you wish to study the humans, but do not interfere with military operations. Xiala watched him stride away, her forehands clasped in a gesture of deep concern. 12 light-years away, Dr. Maya Chen stared at the message on her quantum communication terminal in disbelief. As Earth's premier denilinguist and the director of the Global Deep Space Monitoring Initiative, she had devoted her life to preparing humanity for first contact. Now that contact was coming, but not in the form she had hoped. The message was brief, transmitted on a frequency Earth's scientists had only recently learned to detect. Invasion imminent. All species voted for a pair. Maya's hands trembled as she reached for the secure line to the United Nations Security Council. Within hours, the message had been authenticated and verified by multiple listening stations around the globe. In the Emergency Security Council chamber beneath the UN building in New York, 15 grim-faced men and women watched as Maya concluded her briefing. Based on our analysis of the signal and its origin point, we believe we have less than 60 days before the alien fleet reaches Earth. General Daiki Tanaka, representing Japan on the council, leaned forward. Dr. Chen, what options do we have? Our space defenses consist of a few satellites and outdated weapon systems. We have nothing that could stop an interstellar invasion. Maya exchanged a glance with the council president, who gave a subtle nod. That's not entirely true, General, she said, taking a deep breath. For the past 40 years, an international coalition of scientists has been working on a project code-named Aegis. It's time to activate it. Murmurs filled the room as Maya brought up a holographic display, showing locations around the globe, marked with pulsing red dots. These are installation sites where we've been developing defensive systems based partly on technology recovered from crashed alien craft in the mid-20th century. We've kept these advances compartmentalized and secret, even from most military and scientific communities, to prevent them from being detected by long-range scans. The council president spoke up. Dr. Chen has been authorized to implement Protocol Omega. As of this moment, all nations are to put aside their differences. We face extinction if we remain divided. For the first time in human history, global unity was achieved almost overnight. Ancient enemies set aside centuries of conflict. Resources were pooled, militaries coordinated, and civilians prepared for the coming storm. The Aegis Protocol activated dormant defensive systems hidden beneath oceans, within mountains, and disguised as ordinary facilities around the world. At the primary Aegis facility beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, Maya worked alongside Dr. Sanjay Patel, the project's chief engineer. His dark eyes were ringed with exhaustion as he calibrated the planetary shield generator. The system was never meant to be activated all at once, Sanjay said, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. We don't know if it will hold against weapons we've never encountered. Maya nodded, watching as status indicators turned from amber to green across the global network. We don't have a choice. If we don't try, Earth becomes a slave planet. Around the world, similar scenes played out in hidden facilities as scientists and engineers worked frantically to prepare humanity's last line of defense. News channels worldwide announced the approaching threat. Instead of the panic many leaders had feared, people rallied together. Volunteers flooded military recruitment centers. Scientists worked around the clock. Farmers increased production to build emergency food reserves. Humanity, facing its greatest threat, found its greatest strength in unity. From the bridge of his flagship, the inevitable Dominion, Admiral Zorax observed the blue planet growing larger on the view screen. The subjugation fleet, 500 warships carrying enough firepower to reduce a dozen worlds to ash, had emerged from subspace at the edge of the Sol system. Scans show primitive orbital defenses and some unusual energy readings from the surface, reported his second-in-command, Commander Vrex. Nothing that should pose a significant challenge. Zorax nodded, his black eyes reflecting the planet that would soon be his greatest conquest. Prepare the electromagnetic pulse weapons. Their primitive technology will fall in seconds. Then deploy the atmospheric processors. The massive fleet spread out, surrounding Earth in a deadly net. On each ship, weapons powered up. Technology that had conquered dozens of worlds before. All ships in position, Admiral Vrex announced. Zorax gave the order that would forever change Earth's destiny. Fire. Thousands of electromagnetic pulses shot toward Earth, meant to disable all electronics and leave the planet defenseless. But as the pulses reached the upper atmosphere, something unexpected happened. A shimmering blue shield materialized, encompassing the entire planet. The pulses struck the shield and reflected back toward the alien ships. Several smaller vessels exploded immediately as their own weapons turned against them. Alarms blared across the invasion fleet. "Impossible," shouted Vrex. "They are primitives." Zorax stared in disbelief as the shield grew stronger, its energy signature unlike anything in the Collective's database. "Pull back. All ships withdraw to safe distance." But it was too late for the forward elements of the fleet. The shield expanded outward, reaching the closest ships. Upon contact, the alien vessels simply shut down, their advanced technology neutralized by Earth's mysterious defenses. On the Antarctic Command Center, Maya and Sanjay watched the holographic display showing the alien fleet in disarray. Cheers erupted around them as the first wave of the invasion failed. "It worked," Sanjay whispered, disbelief in his voice. "The quantum reflection shield actually worked." Maya's expression remained grim. "This is just the beginning," she said. "They'll be back with more ships and different weapons. But now they know something important." "What's that?" asked a young technician beside her. Maya looked at the retreating alien ships on the display. "They know that Earth will not be taken easily. We will not be enslaved without a fight." As if in answer to her words, the remaining alien ships regrouped and began to approach once more. The battle for Earth's freedom had only just begun. The reckoning. Admiral Zorax paced the bridge of his damaged flagship, scales of rage rising along his spine. Half of the invasion fleet was destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships had pulled back to the far side of Earth's moon to regroup. "How did they do this?" he demanded, slamming a six-fingered fist against a console. "Our intelligence said they had no advanced defense technology." Commander Vrex analyzed the sensor readings with growing concern. "Sir, the shield technology is unlike anything in our database. It appears to combine elements of quantum reflection and phase shifting, technologies that should be centuries beyond human development." On the main view screen, new information appeared as the fleet's sensors penetrated Earth's electronic camouflage. Dozens of hidden defense platforms in orbit and on the surface became visible, their energy signatures now unmistakable. "Someone has helped them," Zorax hissed, his black eyes narrowing to slits. "This shield technology bears similarities to theoretical designs from the Aetheri archives." A junior officer approached with a report. "Admiral, we've completed analysis of their communications. They received warning of our approach approximately 57 rotations ago, just after the Collective's vote." Zorax's head snapped toward the officer. "Find the source of that warning. Someone has committed treason against the Collective." Meanwhile, in the Grand Council chamber, the emergency session of the Galactic Collective was in chaos. Representatives shouted over each other as news of the failed invasion spread. The High Counselor's energy form pulsed with agitation within its containment vessel. "Silence," the High Counselor commanded, and the chamber gradually quieted. Admiral Zorax reports that the humans possess shield technology that should be impossible for their developmental stage. We must consider the possibility that one among us has violated our most sacred laws by sharing advanced technology with a pre-fold civilization. All eyes turned to Xyla, the lone abstainer in the vote. The Xylan ambassador rose gracefully, her forearms spread in a gesture of openness. "I did not warn the humans, nor did I provide them with technology," she stated calmly. "But I am not surprised by their resistance. Our assessment was flawed from the beginning. We judged their capacity for violence without equally weighing their capacity for innovation and cooperation. Ambassador Threx of the Vexillians undulated in agitation. The Xeelan have always been too sympathetic to primitive species. I move that Ambassador Xiela be detained while this matter is investigated. The motion carried swiftly, and security drones moved to escort Xiela from the chamber. As she passed the High Counselor, she spoke softly. You have awakened something you do not understand. Humans do not think as we do. They are not predictable. That is their greatest strength. Back on Earth, the celebrations were brief. In the Antarctic Command Center, Maya Chen coordinated with defense stations worldwide as they prepared for the second wave of attacks. The shield held, but it drained nearly 40% of our power reserves, reported Sanjay, his face illuminated by the glow of holographic displays. If they come back with more firepower, we may not be able to maintain full coverage. Maya nodded grimly. Then we need to take the fight to them. Activate Phase 2. Around the planet, scientists and military personnel moved with practiced precision. This was the moment they had trained for, the contingency they had hoped would never be necessary. In orbit, dozens of satellites that had appeared to be normal communication or weather stations transformed. Panels opened to reveal weapons systems based on recovered alien technology, modified and improved with human ingenuity. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, enormous hangar doors opened on the seafloor, releasing submersible craft that rose toward the surface before shooting skyward. Earth's first combat-ready spacecraft, hidden for decades in preparation for this moment. From secret mountain bases on every continent, launch platforms emerged, sending swarms of drones into the upper atmosphere. Unlike conventional military drones, these were equipped with quantum entanglement communication systems immune to jamming and specialized EMP weapons designed to target alien technology. The counterattack caught Zorax's regrouping fleet completely by surprise. Earth's orbital platforms fired first, beams of concentrated energy slicing through the hulls of several alien ships before they could raise their shields. Then came the aerospace fighters, nimble craft piloted by Earth's best combat aviators, who had trained for years in simulators based on recovered alien technology. They swarmed the larger alien vessels, exploiting weaknesses in their design that human engineers had identified during decades of studying crashed alien craft. On the bridge of the inevitable Dominion, alarms blared as human fighters executed attack patterns that seemed impossible for such a primitive species. They're targeting our propulsion systems and weapon nodes with precision. Vrex reported, his voice rising in pitch. How could they know the vulnerabilities in our shield geometry? Zorax watched in growing horror as more of his ships were disabled or destroyed. These were not the actions of a species fighting desperately for survival. This was a coordinated strategic assault that demonstrated intimate knowledge of collective technology and tactics. All remaining ships, concentrate fire on their orbital platforms, he commanded. Deploy the phase cannons. We will not be defeated by primitives. The alien fleet regrouped and launched a massive barrage against Earth's defenses. The planetary shield flickered under the assault, areas over less populated regions temporarily collapsing to preserve coverage of major cities. In the Antarctic Command Center, systems overloaded and emergency backups engage. Shield strength down to 32%, Sanjay reported, sweat beading on his forehead, despite the facility's cold temperature. We can't take much more of this. Maya's expression remained determined as she opened a secure channel to all Earth defense stations. Execute Protocol Omega-3. Around the world, engineers activated the final phase of Earth's defense plan, a plan so radical that it had been kept secret from all but the highest levels of military and scientific leadership. In orbit and on the surface, hundreds of quantum resonance generators synchronized, creating a field that spread outward toward the alien fleet. Unlike conventional weapons, these devices didn't target the ships themselves, but the very fabric of subspace that their technology relied upon. As the field reached the alien vessels, their advanced systems began to fail in cascading sequences. Weapons powered down. Shields collapsed. Propulsion systems went offline. The most sophisticated technology simply stopped functioning within the field's influence. Zorax watched in disbelief as his mighty warships became little more than metal hulls drifting in space. "What have they done?" he whispered. Commander Vrex, working frantically at his station, looked up with an expression of pure shock. "Admiral, they've created a subspace dampening field. It's affecting all technology based on fold principles. Only our most basic systems remain operational." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Zorax knew the taste of defeat. With communications to the collective cut off and his fleet neutralized, he had only one option left. "Prepare my shuttle," he ordered. "I will negotiate terms with the humans personally." The Galactic Collective Assembly had reconvened when a transmission cut through their secure communications network. On the central display, a human woman appeared, Dr. Maya Chen, though the aliens did not yet know her name. "Representatives of the Galactic Collective," she began, her voice calm but carrying unmistakable authority. "I am Dr. Maya Chen of Earth. Your invasion force has been neutralized, and your Admiral Zorax is now in our custody." Gasps and exclamations filled the chamber as the image shifted to show the imposing admiral seated at a table, flanked by human security personnel. "We have analyzed your technology and your database," Maya continued. "We know about the vote to enslave our planet. We know about the 300 other worlds you have subjugated. And we know about the 27 species you have driven to extinction when they resisted." The High Counselor moved forward. "How do you access this information?" "It is impossible." "Nothing is impossible for humans when our survival is at stake," Maya interrupted. "For 70 years, we have been recovering and reverse engineering your technology from crashed scout ships. We have been preparing for this day, hoping it would never come, but ready nonetheless." She leaned closer to the camera. "Now, here are our terms. The Galactic Collective will immediately recognize Earth as a sovereign, independent world. All subjugated planets will be granted their independence, and a new council will be formed with equal representation for all species, including those you have enslaved." Ambassador Threx's gelatinous form quivered with indignation. "This is outrageous. You cannot dictate terms to the collective. We have existed for millennia before your species even developed written language." Maya's expression remained impassive. "Perhaps you misunderstand your situation. We have developed technology that can disable your most advanced systems. We have already transmitted the specifications for our subspace dampening field to resistance movements on 27 of your subjugated worlds. Even now, they are building their own versions." On cue, reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Slave revolts had broken out on multiple planets. Collective outposts were going dark as their technology failed. Ships were being captured intact by formerly subjugated species. "You have 3 standard cycles to accept our terms," Maya stated. "After that, we will assist every world under your control in achieving their freedom, by force if necessary." The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. Then, from the back of the assembly, a slow clapping began. Stayala, somehow freed from detention, walked down the central aisle. "I warned you," she said, addressing the entire assembly. "Humans do not think as we do. You saw their capacity for violence and feared it, but you failed to see what makes them truly dangerous: their adaptability, their creativity, and their profound capacity for cooperation when threatened." The High Counselor's energy form dimmed slightly. "What would you have us do, Ambassador Xiala?" She smiled, all 4 hands clasped before her in a gesture of peaceful intent. "Accept their terms. Learn from them. The age of the collective as conqueror is over. Perhaps now we can become what we always claimed to be, a true collective of equals, working together for the benefit of all." 6 months later, Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the newly constructed diplomatic outpost orbiting Earth. Beside her stood Xiala, now serving as the interim coordinator for the Galactic Council of Free Worlds. "Your people have adjusted remarkably well to their new place in the galactic community," Xiala observed, watching shuttles ferry representatives from dozens of species between the station and Earth. Maya nodded, her gaze on the blue planet below. We've had a long time to imagine this moment. Thousands of years of science fiction prepared us mentally, and decades of secret preparation gave us the technology we needed. And Admiral Zorax? Shiala inquired. Currently teaching advanced physics at Oxford University, Maya replied with a small smile. He's finding humans to be far more interesting students than he expected. Several other former collective military leaders have requested similar positions. It seems they're eager to understand how we defeated them. Shiala's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of amusement. And will they learn your secrets? Maya turned to her alien friend. Some of them, but not all. Earth maintained its independence because we were prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. We won't forget that lesson. On the view screen nearby, a news broadcast showed the former Admiral Zorax lecturing to a hall filled with human students. His once imposing figure now seemed almost professorial as he explained concepts at a holographic display. They came to enslave us, Maya mused. Now they teach in our universities, trade in our markets, and help us build a new galactic order. And what happens when you encounter a species even more aggressive than the collective was? Shiala asked softly. Maya's expression turned serious. Then we'll be ready for them too. Earth will never again be vulnerable. But we've learned something important from this experience. What's that? That the greatest power in the universe isn't technology or weapons, Maya said, watching as Earth rotated below them, nations and borders invisible from space. It's unity. When every species voted to enslave us, they thought they were signing our death warrant. Instead, they forced humanity to achieve something we had never managed on our own. True global cooperation. Ciela placed one of her 4 hands gently on Maya's shoulder. Perhaps that is why so many now look to Earth for leadership. You achieved in 50 days what most species take centuries to learn. As if to emphasize her point, a delegation of former collective representatives approached, led by Ambassador Threx. His gelatinous form now contained streaks of blue, a sign of respect in Vexillian culture. Dr. Chen, he began, his translator conveying a tone of deference that would have been unthinkable months ago. The Council requests Earth's expertise on the liberation of the Protean system. Their defense systems are challenging. Maya nodded professionally, hiding her satisfaction. Of course, Ambassador, Earth is always ready to assist our galactic partners. As they walked away to attend the meeting, Ciela made an observation. From nearly enslaved to liberators of the galaxy in less than 1 Earth year. Remarkable. Maya smiled. That's humanity for you. Never underestimate a species that refuses to accept limitations, especially when every other species has voted against them. Behind them, Earth continued its eternal rotation, no longer just a pale blue dot in an indifferent cosmos, but the birthplace of a species that had forever changed the course of galactic history. A species that had transformed from prey to protector, from target to teacher, from almost enslaved to universally respected. The species that had proven that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the universe is unity born of necessity.